The Milgram Experiment. How ordinary people become dangerous. The door closes. Inside the room, a table, a shock generator, and a man in a lab coat. It's 1961 at Yale University. Psychologist Stanley Milgram is trying to answer a disturbing question. Would you hurt someone if an authority told you to? Participants responded to a newspaper ad for a memory and learning study. They were ordinary men, teachers, salesmen, workers. No history of violence, no psychological disorders. They were assigned the role of teacher. In another room sat the learner, strapped to a chair with electrodes attached. He mentioned he had a heart condition. The teacher was seated in front of a panel of switches labeled from 15 volts to 450 volts. Danger. Severe shock. Every time the learner gave a wrong answer, the teacher had to press the next switch. The shocks weren't real, but the teachers believed they were. At 75 volts, the learner grunted. At 150 volts, he shouted, "Please stop." The teacher hesitated. He looked at the man in the lab coat. The response was calm. The experiment requires that you continue. No threats, no force, just authority. At 300 volts, the learner screamed and pounded on the wall. Some participants trembled. Some laughed nervously. Some argued that the experiment should stop. But when they asked if they should continue, the experimenter replied, "You have no other choice. You must go on." At 330 volts, the learner went silent. No more screams, no more answers. The teacher asked, "If he's not responding, should I still continue?" "Yes." Treat no response as a wrong answer. Press the switch again and again. In the end, 65% of participants delivered the maximum 450 volts. They believed they might be seriously harming or even killing another person. They weren't monsters. They were ordinary people placed under authority pressure. Milgram called this the agentic state. When authority takes control, individuals shift responsibility upward. They stop seeing themselves as accountable. They become instruments of someone else's will. "I'm just following orders." The experiment revealed something deeply uncomfortable. Obedience can overpower conscience. The real shock wasn't electrical. It was psychological. If you were in that room, where would you stop? Most people say they would refuse early. History and data otherwise. And that's what makes this experiment so disturbing. Sometimes all it takes is a calm voice saying, "The experiment requires that you continue." And we do.